Soul on Billboard, plenty of soul, some of that good old soul music on Billboard's Hot 100, June 20th, 1970. Let me bring it up for you right now. June 20th, 1970. I'm going to have to spend some time. I want to spend time on all the Billboard Hot 100s. I get on one of them, I get hooked and start talking about songs from this one Hot 100, then jump on another Hot 100. But let me go through some of the big hits that you might remember from that week, June 20th, 1970, to give you some perspective. Got Hey Mr. Sun by Bobby Sherman, although that was kind of a minor hit, but at number 24 that week, though, he'd have his last really big hit later on that summer, fall of 1970, Julie, Do You Love Me? And we got, oh gosh, Come Saturday Morning by the Sandpipers. Beautiful record at number 27. I love that record. United We Stand by Brotherhood of Man. Everything is Beautiful by Ray Stevens at number 12. And I'm sure you remember Ride, Captain Ride by Blues Image at number 11. But let's go down to number Reflections of My Life by the Reflections, dropping to number 41. But let's go to song number 60. Candi Staton, Sweet Feeling. So the magic of Muscle Shoals coming into play on this record. Her two of her biggest hits on the pop charts, Stand By Your Man, that would come out later on in the summer of 1970, and also she did Young Hearts Run Free. I'll talk a little bit about that song in just a minute. That was her disco hit in 76. She had some hits in Europe. You Got to Love, she teamed up with The Source, and that was hit in Europe in the 80s for Candi Staton, but it started out in gospel. That's how it started out, particularly with the old school R&B acts. Started in gospel. You hear that gospel influence. It is all over her vocals on this record, Sweet Feeling. It sounds like a gospel record. But she started out in a gospel trio. Her sister was in this gospel trio, and they toured. But the gospel greats, I mean, the gospel gospel icons, Soul Stirrers, Sam Cooke sang lead with the Soul Stirrers back in the 50s. I think Lou Rawls also sang with the Soul Stirrers at one time back in the 50s. And C.L. Franklin, they toured with C.L. Franklin, Mahalia Jackson, and but 1968, oh, she got a break. Candi Staton was introduced to the legendary Rick Hall, music producer Rick Hall, the guy who ran the Fame Studio in Muscle Shoals, Alabama, hotbed for great soul music, and it cranked out about 16 soul hits. The Fame Studios for Candi Staton. She was married to Clarence Carter for about 3 years. Candi Staton, and this song recorded at Fame Studio, sweet. Song at number 60, Sweet Feeling. Number 60. But that's as high as it got, though. Number 60 on Billboard's Hot 100. It was on Billboard's Hot 100 for only 8 weeks. But then she would have that bigger hit when she covered Tammy Wynette's Stand By Your Man. Late summer, fall of 1970, 1976, Candi Staton came roaring right back into the charts with a disco hit, Young Hearts Run Free. She teamed up with a guy named David Crawford. David Crawford produced that song. He wrote it too, co-wrote it. David Crawford, here's an interesting thing about David Crawford, the guy who wrote Young Hearts Run Free. He wrote the song What a Man. It was not a real big R&B hit, but it did hit the R&B charts by Linda Lindell, 1968. What a Man, later covered, reinvigorated with Salt and Pepper and Folk. They got together and they nailed it. What a Man. That was in 1993. But we're getting way ahead of ourselves here. Going back to Billboard's Hot 100, June 20th, 1970. Candi Staton at number 60 on Billboard's Hot 100 for 2 months with the song Sweet Feeling, brought to you by Mr. DJ.